Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. Context. I am a 19 female. My mom is 41. I am one of 7 kids, soon to be 8. 23 female. 19 female, me, 17 female, 16 male, 14 male, 5 female, and 2 male. My mom has been married and divorced 3 times. She has been impregnated by 4 different men. 23 female doesn't know who her dad is because they were young when she was born and he disappeared. 17 female, 16 male, 14 male, and I all have the same father, but he's never really been involved. He ditched us when 14 male was born, and we haven't heard from him since. 5 female and 2 male have the same dad, but he's in prison. We are white and live in the deep south of the United States. I want to apologize first if I offend anyone with my post. I'm also sorry if this post comes off as really harsh, but I've been holding this in for so long, and I just need to vent in an anonymous place. I'm so ready to go scorched earth on my mom and her family. My mom is a complete train wreck, always has been. She is self-absorbed, spoiled, selfish, inconsiderate, and immature. She lives in the moment and can justify anything she does, as long as it's something she wants. I blame my grandmother, who continues to coddle and enable her to this day. My mom is never at fault. She was also raised deeply religious, so whenever you try to reason with her, she just says, "It's God's will." Yeah, try having a conversation with someone like that. Again, she is never wrong, because she always leaves it up to God. Typical fake Christian nonsense. And what's funny is that my mother couldn't be further from a Christian. She treats her kids like garbage and only uses us as a way to get money and attention. I'm convinced that she doesn't even like children. She just loves the attention that being pregnant and having a baby brings her. My grandmother, 61, and grandfather, 62, have done most of the work raising us, while my mother parties, sleeps around, and lives her best life. She completely disappeared from our lives when I was 10, and then came back when I was 14 because she was pregnant again. No idea what she was doing during that time. My grandmother welcomed her back immediately and acted like everything was normal. She even threw a huge party to celebrate the pregnancy. I couldn't remember the last time anyone had thrown me or my siblings a birthday, but anyway. Now, on to the current issue. My mom is now engaged to some rando that she's only known for 2 months. We were all having dinner at my grandparents' house so that we could get to know new guy. Keep in mind, we've literally met this guy like 2 or 3 times. My mom said she had a big announcement and revealed that she was pregnant again. My grandmother gasped and gave her and new guy the biggest hug. My grandfather looked stunned, but tried to be supportive. 5-year-old and 2-year-old got excited because they're too young to understand. But the rest of us kids, except for 23-year-old, she moved away, were angry and horrified. We kept looking at each other like, what the hell? My grandmother went on and on about how God is good and how my mother is such a great woman because Jesus keeps blessing her with children. New guy chimed in. Again, he's only known her for 2 months. And said that he was so excited to have a baby with such a wonderful woman who always puts family first. Guys, let me tell you, something inside of me snapped at that statement. I stood up and started shouting at them, something I have never done before. I screamed at my grandmother for being an enabler. I screamed at my mom for being the worst mom ever, a fake Christian, a liar, a deadbeat. I yelled at new guy that he didn't even know who my mother really was, and soon after she has the baby, she's gonna abandon them both like she's done over and over in the past. I said that she will eventually grow bored of her new child and discard them like the trash. My teenage siblings eventually jumped up and joined me in telling off our mom and grandma. My grandma yelled back and tried to lunge at us while my grandfather held her back, and my mom sat there sobbing. New guy just stared ahead with his mouth open, clearly unaware of my mom's backstory. Grandpa eventually got everyone to quiet down. We all sat down and stayed silent for maybe a minute, before my mom looked me in the eyes and said, "You never could be happy for me. You always have to ruin everything." It was kind of jarring to hear her say that. if I'm being honest. My mom has never really said anything hurtful towards me, or said much to me, period. She's just been sort of gone, if that makes sense. It's like she's there, but not really. This is the first time she said something of substance, and it threw me off. I asked her what she meant by that, trying to stay calm. She revealed that she never liked me as a child, which is why she never interacted with me, played with me, or did much of anything. She thought I was defiant and difficult, but she persevered because the Lord was testing her. My grandmother backed her up and said, "That's right." I stared at her for a moment, and then told her that she has been ruining my life since day one, and that it had nothing to do with me or the Lord or anyone else. It was because she incapable of loving anyone but herself. That she was completely selfish, and she needs to stop having kids and be sterilized so that she can't ruin any more innocent lives. I don't even ducking care if I was over the line. She needed to hear it. My grandpa said that he had heard enough and that dinner was over. My mom ran into the other room and kept crying while Grandma comforted her. New guy asked me if everything I had said was true, and I just told him yes and to watch out. He left soon after, without my mom. I went upstairs to my room and immediately started crying. This all happened a couple hours ago, and I'm so distraught. I don't know who to talk to, and I have nowhere to go, which is why I'm writing on here. I don't really think I was in the wrong, but at the same time, I'm doubting myself big time. My mom has never shown an interest in me, and my grandmother seems to agree that I was a difficult child, so maybe I drove her away. I know it's not easy to raise children. I'm just trying to process everything. Thanks for reading. Edit. Wow. I am so blown away by the response from everyone. You have shown more support for me than any of the adults in my life. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, and also for sharing your stories. I'm sorry for those of you that are in similar situations. I appreciate all the advice and the funny comments, especially the ones poking fun at my mother's religious hypocrisy. They made me laugh during a low time. I do agree with all of you that I need to get out before my mom inevitably moves back in. Something tells me that things aren't going to work out with new guy, given how fast he got out of the house. My grandma will step in like she always does, but I will be expected to help out. Nope, not this time. I'm currently talking to some friends and trying to figure out an escape plan. I wish I could take my siblings with me, but sadly, they're underaged and I'm poor. Can't stay with Big Sis, it's a long story. I'll update you guys soon. Thanks again. Not the a-hole. OP didn't snap for no reason. OP snapped after years of neglect, abandonment, and emotional abuse. What OP's mother said about not liking OP as a child is unforgivable, and OP's grandmother enabling her is just as damaging. None of this is OP's fault. Children do not drive parents away. Adults fail children, period. OP needs to move out as soon as possible. And now let's hear community's opinion. Not the a-hole. Your mom is a serial abandoner who hides behind religion to avoid accountability. Saying God's will doesn't excuse neglect, parentification, or disappearing for years. Also, that poor guy absolutely deserved to know the truth before he got trapped. You didn't ruin anything. You exposed it. Not the a-hole. What you're describing is long-term emotional neglect and scapegoating. Your mom labeling you as difficult is classic. It's easier to blame a child than admit you're incapable of being a parent. The fact your siblings immediately backed you up says everything. Please don't internalize their narrative. Get out as soon as you safely can. Not the a-hole. Start planning your exit quietly and protect yourself. Do not let them guilt you into staying to help with the baby. That's how cycles like this continue. You're not responsible for fixing adults who refuse to change. You were brave for speaking the truth. Now be brave for yourself. My ex and I divorced when our daughter was 2 because I found out that he had been cheating on me and had a son a few months younger than our kid. He married his side piece, who, at the time, came from a rich family and regularly threw shade at us. He took care of her, I will never negate that. But during the first years of their marriage, my ex neglected her emotionally because he was too focused on her until she also tried to get my ex to stop paying child support and giving up his half of the custody because she wanted him to leave his old life behind, including his daughter. My ex opened his eyes and they separated for almost a year until she promised to give up and attend therapy with him. My daughter and her brother doesn't have a relationship since his mother refused to let them have one. The only time they had together was when they both were with their dad, but nothing strong came from it. I remarried when she was 6, and my husband and I set college funds up for her, my stepchildren, 12 female and 10 male, and our baby, 3 male. Her dad also contributed to the college fund, but since his wife restricted him financially, his portion was about 5 to 6K in 14 years. Now, I'm not really sure what happened, but my ex's wife lost all of her family money, so they went bankrupt almost 2 years ago. To survive, they had to sell their house, drain their savings, and eventually their kids' college fund. I know all of this because a week ago they came to my house because they wanted to talk. My ex explained to me what happened, and then asked if I would be willing to give his son half of his sister's college fund. I said no, that the money belonged to our daughter, and she had every right to keep it. His wife said that then I should give back what my ex gave, and I said sure, but he only put about 5 or 6K toward the fund, so they should only expect that amount. She called me a liar because I smooched all of his money, and while I will say that he gave a bigger quantity for child support, that was mandatory and that money won't be given back. I could see he was sad, but his wife accused me of ripping his son's education from his hands just because I was a bitter bee. I said that either way, their son wasn't my responsibility, and to not bother me or my daughter with that again. Before they left, my ex asked me to reconsider, because it's not fair only one of them goes to college debt-free. I still said no. Edit. I forgot to add that the kids are now 16. Wow, transference much? That's about the time I'd be like, there's the door, let it hit you from behind on your way out. If their financial situation is as bad as they say, the kid will qualify for all kinds of grants and loans, if US, and community college is a great resource as well. And that is their problem to deal with, not yours, not the a-hole. Yes, the a-hole, for agreeing to give them the 5K to 6K your daughter's father contributed to your daughter's college fund. That is not your money to give back. It belongs to your daughter, and you have absolutely no right whatsoever to take it away from her. Her father and his wife squandered away their money and their son's college fund. That is their problem, and theirs alone to solve. You can be damn sure that if you were forced to dip into your daughter's college fund, neither your ex or his wife would have been willing to split their son's college fund with your daughter. Side note, it's nice to see karma kick your ex in his butt for being a complete and total piece of crap for cheating on you. It's also nice to know that his downfall came in the very form of the woman he cheated on you with. His wife is a real piece of work, and your ex deserves every minute of angst and misery she dishes out. Not the a-hole. Do not give 1 cent of your daughter's money away. What her father paid in is hers and should not be paid back. Your husband and his wife have behaved horribly toward you and your daughter, and they have no right coming to you for money. I, female 28, have no relationship with my dad, male 61. I haven't for about 10 years now. I don't get on with his partner, female 63. We'll call her Stella. We've just never gotten on. At the beginning I tried, but it was obvious she didn't like me and my relationship with my stepdad was already rocky, so I decided to just back away from them both. I didn't appear to be missed, so I just went on with my life without them in it. A few weeks ago, my auntie, dad's sister, passed away. We were fairly close, so yesterday I attended her funeral. I knew my dad and Stella would be there, and I was prepared to smile politely and say hello, but nothing more. On the way to the funeral, my uncle, dad's brother, phoned to give me the heads up that recently my dad and Stella got engaged and are planning a Christmas wedding. I told him that I had no interest and wouldn't be bringing it up if I saw them. My uncle told me that it's rude and that I should congratulate them. I asked if I'm even invited to this wedding, which he replied that I'm obviously not. I said that I won't be congratulating them or speaking to them at all outside of hello and goodbye. At the funeral, I did as I intended. I said hello to them both, then went about finding members of family that I wanted to be around. Later at the wake, Stella approached me. I said hello, then I went to excuse myself. She asked if I was going to congratulate her or my dad on their engagement. I smiled politely and said, "No thank you," then excused myself. When I came back to the room, I found Stella crying and my dad and a group of family members around her. I went to the bar on the other side of the room, but could hear everyone saying how rude I was not to even congratulate them. I decided to leave as I didn't want an argument. I found a few family members to say goodbye to. They asked me what happened, and I told them about Stella approaching me and me refusing to congratulate them. My family members didn't understand and said I should have just congratulated them even if I didn't mean it. Now I feel conflicted. Maybe I should have congratulated them. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Why does Stella expect to be congratulated on news she couldn't even be bothered to tell you herself? Not the a-hole. You don't have to just do anything. Seems like Stella approached you for the purpose of being able to frame you as the mean girl and cry with an audience, so later they can say that's why you aren't at the wedding. They created a new narrative that puts you in a bad light now. As you said, she didn't like you. You weren't invited. You already said hi. So why did she approach you? I would ask the family members that and tell them not to bring it up again. Be honest and say you don't care that she made herself cry and stole the attention from the funeral and put it all on her. Stella is a crap starter. The family fell for the fake tears. I hate that. Not the a-hole. You have been no contact for 10 years. You haven't gotten along with them. You're not even invited to the wedding. Why on earth should you congratulate them? At this point, you are strangers and nothing more. Plus, you were trying to be polite about it. I met my husband 4 years ago, and it was love at first sight. He was a widower and had a daughter, now 17. It was tough to deal with, I won't lie, but I wanted to be with him so badly that it didn't matter. We got married 2 years ago and we've had our struggles, I won't deny, but overall, it has been a very happy, love-filled marriage. At the beginning of our relationship, I was really jealous of his late wife. He had pictures of her around his home. His family loved her and talked about her. His daughter, the same thing. His friends, the same. It was tough. I was comparing myself to her. She was beautiful, intelligent, successful. She was a great mother, friend, wife, whatever you can think of. I know that people don't like to speak ill of the dead, but I believe them when they say these things. I did speak to my then boyfriend about these feelings, and he even took down some of the pictures later in our relationship. Still, this house never felt like my home, as it felt like it was still hers. When we got engaged, we decided we would buy our own home, and we would move in right before we got married. Side note, this was very stressful with the wedding so soon after. Would not recommend. During the moving process, I found box after box of old photos and other materials. Photos of his ex, family photos, photos of them together, baby photos, everything. Some of these were Polaroids, they were so old. They had been together for many, many years and had so much history together. I don't know why at that moment I snapped, but I did. I threw the ones with her away. When we were putting photos up in the new house, I didn't put any of her except one with my stepdaughter. There was a box of her things and I donated some of the items and threw the rest away. I even went into the computer and deleted photos we had stored on there. At the time, I felt like I won maybe. I don't even know what I was thinking this would accomplish, but I did it. For the past 2 years, my husband hasn't noticed. My stepdaughter turns 18 soon. She's a very intelligent girl. She graduated early, goes to top-tier school, and is very well adjusted for someone who lost their mother so young. We have never been that close. I care for her, I do, but she never opened up to me and has never viewed me as a mom to her. I understand, but it hurts. Anyway, my husband's mom wanted photos of her as she was putting something together for her. She went to look for them and as you can imagine, they weren't there. He asked me about them and I admitted everything to him, as I wasn't going to lie to him. He is very angry at me and can barely look at me. I've asked him to go to marriage counseling, but he refuses. I'm 13 weeks pregnant and am trying to manage the stress. He's devastated, not just for his daughter, but for himself. I know he loved his late wife very much, and if she was still here, he'd probably be with her. He's been in tears half the time when he's speaking to me and won't sleep in the same room as me. I've tried to explain that I have felt guilty ever since and why I did it, but he doesn't care. He asked me what he's supposed to tell his daughter. Some of the materials I donated threw away were really important. I know that I screwed up. I know that I need to make this up to my husband and his daughter, but I don't know how to. This was such a monumental screw-up on my part. I've always been jealous of her, and I did not handle my emotions correctly. I've tried to track down photos of her by other people, and while I did find some from his parents and her friends, her parents died when she was young, and she was raised by her grandparents who are now dead. There aren't many out there. I love my husband, and I want to fix this more than anything. I know that I am hormonal right now, and my mind is wandering around to every outcome that could happen. But what if this is the end of my marriage? I can't let that happen, and I need to fix this. This is more than a screw-up. You knew exactly what you did. You not only threw away photos that can never ever be replaced, but you cheated your stepdaughter out of one of the most important things that girls could have: memories of their mother. I don't care how jealous and insecure you were. You put your own feelings about a dead woman over a man and child you were supposed to love. I'd never normally say this, but I hope he divorces you. What you did was unforgivable. She's dead. Of course you won. Jesus. What you did was so beyond wrong. It was inexcusable. It was evil. Not just to him, but you threw away photos of your stepdaughter's mother because you felt you were somehow in competition with her? This is unfixable. If your marriage ends because of this, it will be because you made a horrible choice. All you can do is pray your husband forgives you. Get into counseling immediately. What you did was so ugly that you need to figure out what the hell is wrong with you that you would do something like that to somebody you claim to love. OP didn't win. She lost. There is never anything to win, but OP made it a competition that she could never win. You should go to counseling yourself, OP. My 38 male, ex-wife Linda, 36 female, and I have 2 kids. Lily, 9 female, and Liam, 11 male. Lily's had type 1 diabetes since she was very young, and the 3 of us manage it pretty well, although there's always room for improvement. Part of that is Lily wearing a continuous glucose monitor that can send data and alerts to our phones. Last night at around 11:30 p.m., I got a notification that Lily's sugar was below 60. As Linda would have received the same alert, I gave it about 10 minutes and checked again. Her sugar was still falling. It was in the low 50s. I sent Linda a text asking if she'd seen the alert and taken care of Lily. I did not get a response. 10 minutes later, the app showed that her blood sugar was low enough that it just displayed low. I called Linda to make sure everything was okay. I didn't get an answer. I called and texted several times, but still nothing. At 12 a.m., there was no indication that her blood sugar was rising. I tried to FaceTime Lily and called and texted Linda. I then went in to find my iPhone and played a tone on Lily's phone, hoping someone would hear it, but got nothing. I called her mom so she could try to call Linda. I was hoping that Linda's phone was on Do Not Disturb and her mom could get through. Nothing. I was getting really scared, so I drove the 30 minutes over to Linda's house, calling and texting her the entire time. On the drive over, Lily's phone died and stopped sending data, but at around 12:15, it was still low. I used the keys Linda gave me to go in. Lily woke up startled, but she was okay. Linda lost her mind, yelling at me from her room to get out of her house and telling me that I can't come in there like that. I was there for about 30 seconds to a minute, and on my way out tried to explain why I was worried and just got screamed at out the door. This morning she called me and angrily said that she knows how to take care of her daughter, and I can't do that, and asked for her keys back. She didn't care at all that I was worried about Lily's continuous low alerts, or that I couldn't reach her or Lily on their phone, and said that if I had a legitimate concern, I should have called 911. I suggested that she set up a few numbers on her phone that will ring through on the second attempt in case of an emergency. She was completely against that idea because she has a hard time sleeping at night, and that if it were an actual emergency, there's nothing she can do about it at night anyway. I understand that she was upset and probably terrified being waken up in the middle of the night by someone in her home, but she seemed to not care about the extenuating circumstances or the simple solution to me not feeling like I need to drive over there or call 911. So, am I the a-hole for going over to make sure our daughter wasn't in a diabetic coma? Notes. 1. I've never gone into Linda's house without her explicitly asking me to. 2. The few times I sent a text to Linda in the middle of the night about alerts, I've received responses. Edit. I did knock several times and called for them very loudly before using the key. I really didn't want to unnecessarily scare them awake with a loud voice inside their house in the middle of the night if I didn't have to. She did take care of the low blood sugar situation before I got there. She just didn't see my dozens of texts or calls to respond. Edit 2. This is in no way a common thing for us. I don't want to give the impression that she is neglecting our daughter. The reason I reacted the way I did was that it was a unique situation with extenuating circumstances. Last edit. By the time I got there, Lily was fine and her mom had taken care of her. I'm not sure why the trend line from the sensor didn't reflect it before Lily's phone died and stopped sending data. Not the a-hole. Normally I would side with Linda, but you had a legitimate concern and were unable to reach anyone. However, maybe it would be better to call 911 next time. Linda can deal with the 6 or 7 emergency vehicles in her front yard. I mean, Linda said she didn't want to be woken up if there was a real emergency because there's nothing she can do about it anyway. So her beauty sleep is more important than her kid going into a diabetic coma. Mom's awful. Dad is not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. And your ex can very well stay pissed. She wasn't responding and your child could have been dying in that house. Tell her anything further will come from your attorney and take her butt back to court to get full custody. Obviously, her beauty sleep was more important than those alerts she was getting on her phone. Oh, but wait. She can't be bothered at night because she doesn't sleep well. Those alerts were turned off on her phone is my guess, so they didn't wake her up. Your child deserves better.